Hi, it's Joy, and today I'm going to be watching Alpha's Season 2, Episode 10, Life After Death, which means this is going to be a cheerful episode. Thank you so much, Jessie, for sponsoring this show. I'm really loving it. 4 episodes left, I think, which is crazy. Probably going to leave us on some sort of awful cliffhanger that they got cancelled after, and I'm going to be devastated along with the rest of everyone who's ever seen the show. But yes, let's get on with Life After Death. I know it's going to be miserable. No parent should have to do this. I mean, at the end of the day, pick the cheapest option. She doesn't know any different. She loves you regardless. But that's how they get you. They make you feel like, oh, my child deserves the best.
Hicks, you could try screaming. Because you're angry about Dan, like I'm angry about Anna. And the screaming, it's cathartic.
He's trying to help.
Hicks, I could...
You're here. Oh, this is our office?
Yeah, and it's my apartment, too.
Figured after what happened.
Ooh.
And what?
DOD wants all the intel on the parish organization.
Oh, you mean Dr. Rosen's intel?
Yes.
Now you care. Now they care about the Paris operation. It just took his daughter dying for them to give a shit.
It's a beautiful day. You don't want to waste it.
Take time. Is Nina going to have a real appreciation for life all over again? Because Danny kind of gave her the last moments. Ooh, is that the first time they've kissed? She's getting a real appreciation for how short life is all over again. Death does remind you, especially when a young person dies.
Work at that place that helps alphas?
You're not supposed to know about it. You should go away and then...
Is the baby an alpha?
No, I take him.
No.
Oh my god.
No, don't. No,
Please.
No.
Oh my god.
Okay, but where are you going?
You can't just leave your child. Bring the pizza and the baby upstairs. Give the baby to somebody else, eat the pizza. That's what I would do. Something to keep their minds off of everything that's happened.
We're all here for you.
It's awful. You just want to help, but there is no way to ease the pain of this.
Something I want you to do.
No. I bet I know what he's going to say.
Push me.
No.
Make me forget.
That is not healthy or right.
No, you mean you won't?
Yes, she does.
Just go.
Desperate grieving people ask for desperate things. Oh, Gary. Gary has taken the responsibility.
Someone to take care of him. I already looked up how.
A lady? What lady?
I don't know. I think he looks like a...
Life after death.
Gary, what are you talking
I
about?
have to use a steady, rhythmic, soothing motion.
Oh.
Look.
Gary has been a very good parent already. Yep, we have an alpha baby on our hands. But it clearly has some kind of ability that the mother couldn't cope with. Just not that long ago, he was in here, she was in here. Painting she's never gonna finish.
Who do you hold responsible for Danielle's death?
Stanton Parish.
Who do you hold responsible for the death of your daughter?
Say me. Or is this how he viewed the question? He blames himself. It was Parish, 100%. Like, yeah, he may have done things that led to them reaching a certain point. Like, pushed her to make her vulnerable, but he didn't ever intend to do any of it. She's progressing very easily so far with this. She doesn't judge you for your scars. They shocked her the first time because it was sensory overload. But then if he needs to take his time with it, he can take his time with it. They both should be comfortable here. So, like, talk to each other. You don't have to be just... Not that I have experience in the matter, but, like... This is all very intense.
Gary, I need you to track her.
Gary's a full-time parent now. He doesn't have time.
I wonder what his ability is.
We'll probably go fly off somewhere.
No, come on. Even alpha babies can't fly. Can you fly?
Gary's a full-time dad.
Kidding.
No way Rose's gonna take this.
Cam?
Rosen invited us.
I can believe that.
Told me I had free access to all the intel.
You should have just told him that this morning.
Be run by this team.
Hicks, wait,
You'll be
Chloe,
part
what are you
of the
talking
team. It's too much for Rose and he blames himself. He doesn't want to get anyone else he cares about hurt.
We also have the parents. They're waiting outside.
Oh. Someone else that thought the baby was an alpha, she snatched it to bring it here to be safe from the parents.
Okay, 1 second, please.
We have to make,
work this thing out.
What do you mean, work this thing out?
we need to make sure you are really the parents. It's right. You wouldn't want them to give your baby over to someone else that turned up.
We just want our son.
They're doing their due diligence. You wouldn't want them to hand their baby back to someone that would hurt it or wasn't really the parent. Did she enjoy that, or is she still someplace else?
That was,
Rachel, talk to him. The only way to build a successful relationship is to talk to each other.
In exchange for a pardon of her crimes.
And you were in support of that agreement.
Covering the government's.
Yes, I was.
Is he communicating with him somehow? Has he got an ability like Danny's?
Meaning that, Gary, it's time to go.
No, Bill. No, Bill. Don't do
Ooh.
What is wrong with
that. Don't
you?
do that. Get out.
Oh, does the baby have something that controls people?
There's nothing wrong. They're not taking it.
Why does the baby not want to go with them? That's a bad sign if the baby does not want to go with them.
This is weird even for Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Gary,
Alpha ability of the baby.
concerned about the baby, but you can't keep him from his parents.
Are the parents not right for the baby? Is that it?
Yeah, Bill.
I'm sorry we imposed on you today.
You could have handled that very differently.
seriously, I'm fine with that.
This is so awkward.
John,
I don't know, I think we just built it up too much. We just needed to get past the first thing.
I just completely shut down. It's just
This would have been a good talk to have beforehand.
Rachel, she said she couldn't stomach it.
Is that how she put it? Beautiful.
Wasn't a very forgivable way to put it, but there is a difference between that suddenly happening in a relationship and, oh, hello, mother and father.
Baba,
Hmm,
what are
hmm.
you doing home?
I mean, she's a grown adult, but
We only have 2 hours.
that's good. That feels a bit more natural. They've been giggling and laughing with each other. There's not this kind of big, this must be intense.
You want to protect her things.
He was protecting her. He mocked her when she was younger, but he was protecting her now.
Where the hell do you think I should be?
What should we be doing? Cameron, don't do something stupid. You're already doing stupid things. Lashing out at the people that don't deserve it.
Call Dr. Rose.
No.
Ooh.
Rosen is able to reach Gary.
All right, we need to split them up and ask some smart questions.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to do your thing? Can't seem to find any record of you or your wife. No home records, no loan.
What does that have
Ooh.
to do with this? Just get my son out of that room.
Are you really his parents? Is he
We're
safe?
not gonna be able to do that just yet.
Is he trying to get... Did he ask Magda to
Do you
run
know what
away
you're
and...
talking about? Are you the baby's parents?
No. But if things get tricky, show them who they're dealing with.
Jesus.
I will.
Bill, Alpha up, please. Fuck, they're alphas too.
Yeah, I'm one of those people.
Why are you okay with him experimenting on a baby? The baby didn't want to go back. Lethally trained alphas who are okay with babies being experimented on? Oh, Gary. You don't know who you're messing with, maybe.
Go to sleep. Bitch.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you see, I told you. I was right.
Whatever happens to Cameron or Danny or anyone, it's my responsibility.
But it's Parrish
Carry that along.
that hurts them.
Yes, I should.
It's Parrish that did it. You would never have done it. But I can see why you would feel like someone else should be in charge of the operation, someone else should be controlling it, that he shouldn't have the sort of authority that that job would require.
It's a hormone that.
He's still jiggling the baby.
Protect one's child.
Are the other babies all right?
Seem to be.
Gosh.
Pure foster homes.
Drink very quickly.
I have to drink this.
Yes.
Is he gonna be like, oh my god, get the baby away?
Hold your breath.
You protected him when we almost gave him away.
Yeah, I was incredible.
You were.
Here, may I?
Yeah,
Hey,
you had a rough day.
Could the team have a baby? I think the team could have a baby.
Lucky he won't remember.
I'm glad 2 of them have had fun today.
A whining Bill.
Hmm.
Can only have one baby in the house.
Are you sure you're okay with this?
Just look at him.
Does she know about alphas?
Perfect.
She wanted kids. They could have their own little alpha brood. Go with this one.
Blame me for all of this, Carrie. Well, I do too.
I had it in my arms.
Blames himself as
But
well.
I let her go.
Both gave her the chance to right her wrongs, to be who she was.
Right now, we did not kill her. He used her, and then he killed her when she got in his way.
Exactly.
He doesn't deserve to go to prison.
Think about it, prison for eternity.
No, he doesn't.
Fuck, they're crossing a line if they act on this. Okay, so a baby was a brilliant way to like distract from the sadness that was going on. And the idea that there was a lab that knew about alphas and was employing alphas as well, it makes you wonder, first of all, just how many different corporations and companies know about and are benefiting from alphas, and how many heard Dr. Rosen's speech and were like, let's look into this, let's see if this is true. Just chilling and awful to think that anyone out there could be okay with just experimenting on babies that don't have parents, whether that's because they were, you know, artificially created in a lab using alpha sperm donors and egg providers or whatever, whether the parents don't know where the baby is, they sold the baby, they got the baby stolen, no matter what. The idea that anyone could just be okay with babies being experimented on is sickening. And then when you think, oh, that baby's being experimented on because they're different like me. You know, if someone wanted to experiment on babies or ridiculously pale people, I would be like, why are you experimenting on a baby just like me? I mean, historically it is not that way around, is it? I'm so glad they were able to save not only Benjamin Kyle, but all of the babies as well, and Bill and his wife taking it home. I kind of called that in my head. It was like, there was a thing about them having a kid. The biggest issue with their relationship is, does she know what alphas are? Because she knows she needs to take the stuff, but does she know why? Because if they are going to have biological children, I mean, they're getting older, but, you know, that was something I think in season 1 was being discussed. She deserves to know that these children could be special, they could be different. Now, that doesn't mean she shouldn't have them, of course not. But I love that they're going to get to be a little family, even if it's only for a short while. Then I loved Gary's paternal instinct. He was a brilliant dad, and he was so caring and like trying to do everything right. I think that, I know it was only a small snapshot and some of it was portrayed as funny, but it also does show that even highly autistic people can be wonderful parents and could love their child. And, you know, being autistic doesn't mean you can't do things normal people do. It just means you do things in a different way to the way normal people do them. Something I do think, you know, this show has often made me think of is Gary is very much the stereotypical autistic person, but autism is such a wide spectrum that I do think it would be beneficial to a lot of people to see more things on the spectrum. Like, I've been reading up a lot on autism, and there can be people with really active imaginations and who aren't all into numbers and things. And people can be really empathetic and be autistic. You know, oversharing as always, genuinely I'm starting to come to the consideration of, am I autistic? I've always known I'm most likely a bit further along on the spectrum because the level of obsessive I get over TV shows, books and fads, and like when I was 3 I became Tina because Tina owned Barney the dinosaur, and I answered to, like there are certain elements, and I'm not going to go about that right now. So it's something I do think, and it's not just this show, it's that every single autistic person I can think of seeing on TV, they are the hyper stereotypical version, which obviously there are people who are autistic who are like that, but I think there should be more variety and more diversity with their autism spectrum. But I do enjoy the fact that this show, despite it showing Gary as being this very stereotypical type of autistic, they show that he is capable of dealing with things, and that a lot of the things he can't do or he couldn't do, as soon as people gave him the chance to try, he did learn to do it. So I do enjoy how they portray Gary, even if I do wish that they could have done a slightly more nuanced take on autism, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does. Then we have Rachel and her partner. I don't remember his name. It was so awkward, and then it was really sweet. And I think in some ways, anything like that, it's really good to show. Like I said before, that I was disappointed when they kind of made it be like, oh yeah, Rachel's had so much sex, she's just hated it, from being like, I would have thought Rachel would have really struggled to have had any, etc. But I did like the way they kind of showed that the first time was awkward for both of them, because she just disassociated, just went to a different place. And logically, yeah, she was happy. She wanted to do it. Otherwise, I do think she would have said, no, stop. And he would have been like, fuck, okay, you know. But also, he wasn't comfortable revealing his scars. It's almost like you wish they could have had that conversation first. But I also think it's a big thing for people to just get over this whole idea that the first time is everything. Whether it's your first ever time, whether it's your first time with a certain person, like, yes, it can be special, but it can also be a bit awkward, and then you need to have the talk afterwards and figure out how to make it work. So I'm really glad they were able to find that moment together, and that her dad saw them, and he, you know, he wasn't that kind of, get out of my house, seducing my daughter. He was like, well, this is awkward, I'm going shopping for 2 hours. That was just really sweet, and then together afterwards, I'm just so happy they had that moment. Then, of course, we have the fallout from Danny's death. Now, I thought this would drive Rosa into being even more cutthroat, but I'm glad in a way it's made, I mean, I'm not glad, that he's kind of looking at things in the sense that I took risks maybe he shouldn't have done, and he doesn't want to risk anybody else. I feel like at this point he's going to try and use Clay and his resources to find him faster and then kill him. Now, I think in a way, the bigger fuck you would be for Parrish to be in prison forever and ever and ever. I mean, a life sentence for Parrish would literally be an eternity, and that could be really funny, watching him just wither and die, but not actually capable of withering and dying. But then that's my view on capital punishment in general, being locked up in prison. If you think about how much people complained about not being able to leave their house apart from 1 hour a day during a lockdown. I mean, I have done that since March 2020, so, you know, deal with it, people. But all these people who, they struggled so much, they just couldn't bear the thought of it. Like, some of my friends, they're like, Joy, how have you done that? And I'm like, I mean, I miss going to things, like going to the cinema, I miss seeing my friends, but I don't miss the outside. But anyway, regardless, the way the world complained about lockdowns, imagine being in prison, even less control than you had during lockdown. That's my opinion on capital punishment. I'm going off on tangents today, I'm very sorry. But him and Cameron teaming up in this kind of murder mission, it would be crossing a line. Now, again, Parrish is the kind of villain that I feel like if anyone deserves to die, maybe someone like him does. If that's the only way to stop him, it's a different story as well. I thought it was interesting seeing the way Rosen grieved, in blaming himself, but his logical brain was like, I know it's not my fault, it's Parrish's fault, and that is true. And for Cameron, that a lot of that anger and rage he was feeling at Rosen was also anger and rage he was feeling at himself. So I am kind of glad that, if in a weird way, this has brought them closer than ever, but I'm also scared about where it's going to take them mentally speaking. This was a really good episode, another brilliant episode. I like that it was sad, it had moments, like the bit that made me almost cry the most was genuinely when Gary offered to teach Cameron how to do the screaming. I don't know why, that bit nearly got me crying, and then babies appeared and pizza and I got distracted. But then the baby plotline was a nice sort of sweet, different to their usual kind of episode as well, so I really, really did enjoy that. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon if you are watching this on YouTube, and thank you so much, Jessie, for sponsoring this show. Thank you for watching.